phones. See who's there. Hi, you're in the air.
Hi, Glenn. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
No, I talked to you before. That was my kids that were involved with that pedophile that was at 146 9th Street
Yes.
in Watertown.
Right.
Okay. So I'm glad to talk to you again. I'm glad that you answered my phone call.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I just, I don't really want to get my name out there, but
I understand.
I will. I have no shame in it, but I want to make it public.
Okay, well let's before we do that, let me just say, I mean, it sounds like you have someone with you, giving you some counsel. Is that your lawyer or is that your girlfriend, if you don't mind me asking?
No, my wife was just.
Okay, no, I understand. So, and again, you've been on Channel 7 and you disclosed your name then. Is it okay to disclose?
No, I did not disclose my name.
Okay, all right. So then it's best that we just keep that off the table. But you are obviously involved in this, and your kids were involved in this because I think it was your ex-wife that had relations with this gentleman. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you were put into a precarious situation because then you must have found out within a short period of time that your ex-wife was having relations with someone that got in trouble. Is that correct?
Yes, that's totally correct. And it wasn't a short period of time. I've been fighting the judicial system since October 22nd of 2019.
Okay. Right.
I had a order from State Supreme Court James McCluskey from October 22nd of 2019 until previous date. He's done everything great for me. He's done everything, and it was in my divorce decree. It was in everything.
Right.
The only thing is and Judge Renzi did a great thing. By my parents' behalf and stuff like that.
Right.
And I appreciate that, and I applaud him for that. Judge Abbey. Yesterday, we had a court. He gave the children back to my ex-wife, which were currently in custody of my parents.
Okay.
And which I don't know. I don't feel that it was
that was just
a good decision.
Okay.
It was not a good decision.
Okay.
I feel.
All right. So let me just only because you're low on the phone line right now, and in terms of your volume. So let me feed you some questions, and if you can give me some answers, if you don't mind, because I'm somewhat.
I'll give you any answer that you want.
Well, I mean, again, that's why you need counsel, because you don't want to do that. But I will say this: I mentioned this on the air that about in 2017, I went to an event and I heard about the person in question here. Was in jail for a 20-year sentence for having relations with his niece. Am I correct on that?
Yes, you are.
And then about 2 years later, 2019 or so, I saw him at a local bar, and he actually said hi to me. So I guess I have to ask you, how is it that I'm under the impression that he's incarcerated for a serious crime that went on over the course of maybe 3-4 years with someone he was related to? How did he get out so quickly?
I think that he was having intimate relations with his probation officer. That's what I think.
And that's what got him out of prison?
I believe so.
All right. Well, that's conjecture. So let's put that on the side for a moment. So he gets out.
Okay.
All right. And then did he know your ex-wife before he was incarcerated, or did he get to know her after he was released?
After he was released, I believe that they were having, and I was still with my wife at that time.
Okay.
I believe that they were possibly together.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right. So okay, here's my next question. Was your ex-wife? She's no dummy. she had to know that he was away for a bit, and for what reason? So why, in your opinion, would anyone accept him after in such a short period of that? Did she just believe that he was incarcerated for the wrong reasons? He was innocent.
I have. That's what she believed. She believed that he took a plea deal, and she believed that he took a plea deal to get out of the situation.
Okay.
He was supposed to be on probation until 2026,
Right.
but his probation officer let him off 2 years ago.
Right. Oh, okay, so it was 2 years ago. Actually, I'm losing track because I just gave the benefit of the doubt at that moment when I saw him at a bar. I'm like, oh, there must have been a big misunderstanding. Maybe he shouldn't have been. These are the things that went through my mind. But in your case, your ex-wife had relations with him, and recently, about 2 weeks ago, we discover that there are allegations against the same man that was incarcerated and let out. Was charged with unlawful surveillance, putting cameras hidden behind light
Correct.
switches.
Correct.
So how did you find out about that? Did you find about that like everybody else?
I found out about it from the FBI and Homeland Security.
And what did they do? Reach out to you by phone, or did they come to your house?
Phone.
And was at that point did you realize that your worst fears were somewhat correct, because you can't take the stripes off a zebra, right? Did you have that feeling?
Exactly, Glenn. So, it's not only my kids, it's my children's friends.
Right. Well, a lot of people involved. Sure.
Yeah.
Kids have a lot of friends. Sure.
Involved.
Yeah.
Whoever had a sleepover,
Right.
or
Right.
I mean, it's very, very disturbing.
So-
and it's been very disturbing.
And I'm sure you've
And
been.
you know what?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I got a lot. You know what? When I went to court
Yeah.
yesterday,
Right.
Glenn,
Yeah.
I got a lot of backlash from Judge Ebby, who was the judge, Judge Ebby. I got a lot of backlash from him for speaking in public, and I got a lot of backlash from CPS,
Right.
and I got a lot of backlash from my children's attorney.
Okay.
Because I've been
Right.
so vocal.
Right. And now here's the thing.
For being vocal?
Well, no, because it's an ongoing case, my friend. And again, that's why I'm guarded. That's why I don't want to disclose who you are. And quite frankly, I'm not going in other areas with this discussion for your sake and everyone involved. But I will say this. My friend. I get it.
Yep.
You're just like the woman that was being interviewed by George Stenopolis. Sometimes you have a serious matter and you've got to talk about it, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it, or a lot of people on the legal end don't want you to incriminate yourself in the process. So you got to be very careful of that. And I know you know that, but you want to tell a story. But we've got to keep it at this point. The only question I'd like to ask you is that: do you feel, my friend, that justice will be served when all this is said and done?
No.
Why?
Because she should have been arrested for endangering the welfare.
All right.
of children.
Other than that, all right. Put
That's
that. Put that on the side, because that's what your lawyer is all upset with you about. Do you think, with these latest allegations, that this particular person will not be at liberty to do these things again? Do you feel that way?
I think that Nicholas Sherwood will be incarcerated for a very long time.
All right.
That's what I believe.
Gotcha. All right. So with that said, I just, let's stay in touch. But you've got to speak with counsel, not your girlfriend, your wife, whoever's there with you. I know you have a lot of passion, a lot of conviction to get this story out. But at the end of the day, that's not what you got. I mean, again, I'm no lawyer, but I know enough about the law to stay away from certain things. But so, let's stay in touch, but let's be guarded at the same time. I hope you understand what I'm saying, and I know you understand. I hope you can appreciate what I'm saying.
I totally understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, and I hope I didn't, cross any boundaries.
No, well, again, that's not my boundaries. Those are yours and everyone involved with this case. So I just want to be careful for you and everyone involved.
Well, I mean, Glenn, am I really at fault for being vocal know.
Well,
Am I-
if you notice, in
no.
any given, a lot of people use that way of evading questions. They use it for political reasons. It's like, hey, why did you arrest Donald Trump? Says, well, it's an ongoing investigation. We can't talk about it. So they kind of remove themselves some responsibility on the political end. But it also it's another reason why cops, when someone from Channel 7 says, who do you think the suspect is? The last thing the police officer is going to say is give them any evidence. They're not going to give them any evidence because they're just going to contain this investigation within their own realm so that nobody can spoil it at any time. And that's what your people are telling you. And I agree with them, my friend. I really do. I understand where you're coming from, but you must be careful. You must be careful. Okay?
All right, I appreciate that advice.
All right. Thank you, my friend. And say hi to everyone. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. I'll see you. Hi, you're on the air. This is the Dr. Glenn Show. You're on the air.
Glenn, is it all right if I call the show?
Yes, of course it is. What's the matter with you? Of course it is.
A lot of Biden people hate my guts.
What, the two people that like Joe Biden who listen to this show? Yeah.
One of your owners there is a Biden guy.
Oh, well, yeah, three. Sorry, but he doesn't listen to the show.
Probably
He's
don't
working
want-
out right now.
Your last caller, mistake on his part to come on the air.
Well, I mean,
Let your lawyer
Right.
be talking in the courthouse.
right.
That's what you hired him for.
Right.
You come on the air there, they could come back and bite you right in the butt
Right.
with what you're saying on your show, Glenn.
Yeah, I know.
You know that.
I just try to explain it, yeah.
Maybe you can ask Joe Stanley how a guy, the gentleman charged, have sexual relations with a 10-year-old child for 3 or 4 years.
Convicted, yeah. Convicted. That's the difference. Convicted.
Just a minute. He got 10 years probation and 6 months in jail.
Yeah.
How the hell can anybody justify that? I don't think Joe will answer that question.
No, I'm not going to ask Joe that.
He's afraid to answer a hard-nosed question. You know that as well as I do.
You know better than I do, yeah.
Yeah, but you cannot allow. This is a dangerous guy, like I said before, that should be on the street. But the gentleman that his last call, you can't come on the radio
Right.
and to say what you said because it could come back to hurt you in the case. Let your lawyer do the talking. That's what you're paying him big money for.
Right.
Look at Hunter Biden.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't say a damn word when he went in front of Congress. He let his lawyer, high-paid lawyer, do the talking.
Right. Well, he
That's
still
what
says
you
some
pay him
stupid
for.
things. Yeah. No.
Okay, Glenn.
All right, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. So before that, and that was an interesting show already. And by the way, the Facebook page is working today. Yesterday, we had all types of problems. First time in a while, so it's functioning. But the Ivy Ridge thing, there's some. I mean, talk about controversy in a community where you have a member of society, in his 40s or something, and all of a sudden it's like, well, he had a crazy history. But apparently everything got settled. He's out of jail. And next thing you know, wait a minute, we should have known better. And then a couple weeks later, we hear about an old story about, kids being held against their will and, the total abuses. The one thing that I noticed about, I'm talking about the Ivy Ridge documentary called The Program on Netflix. I watched the first episode last night, and I think you get the whole story pretty much in the first episode. The second episode it gets into another area, but what happened there. And one thing is for sure that I don't think you can take kids against their will in this day and age and put them in a room without their smartphone. That would cause so much anxiety, a high level of stress. It just wouldn't. They would pull their hair out. So when it happened between 2002, 2003, 2005, remember, we didn't have smartphones. We had phones, then we had means of communication, blah, blah, blah. We could text people, but not to the level now with social media was hardly existed. TikTok was just, no one knew what it was. So it was the last chance for people of this crazy magnitude to take kids and think that this is a way of reconditioning them to the point where they would change their mannerisms for the rest of their lives. Just crazy. So check it out when you get a chance. But here's my other point. Now there's a witch hunt. Now there's people that still live in the area of like Ogdensburg, up in St. Lawrence County. Some people might have died. A lot of people probably left since then. But now there's a trail, and because of social media, now the one particular Facebook page I was actually invited to, now they're showing pictures of ex-employees that live there, worked there, at Ivy Ridge back in the day. Like their IDs. And these are the things that they found at the facility that were still there. So it was all there for the taking. It's like I watched so many Columbo episodes over the years, and typically, I don't know, 1 out of 4 episodes, the killer always comes back to get the evidence. Like Johnny Cash went back and tried to get the parachute, the one he used to kill his wife and their assistant. And then, of course, Columbo's there with the headlights on. I see, I knew you'd be back here. And how could you leave a treasure trove of information in an old building sitting off the St. Lawrence River with all the evidence? So Gary Pasqua, the DA up there, man, he has his hands tied and a tremendous amount of data. So needless to say, I mean, again, I'm sure, again, there's people that were involved that were told, you got to do this. This is a stringent environment. You got to be tough with these kids. This is tough love. So I hope that they differentiate between, guys who are supposed to be a good friend to your niece and aren't, as opposed to people that were just told what to do. And again, it was atrocious, and there's no doubt about it. And there was some actions of, acts, I should say, of violence. There's video of someone being choked out. He's only a 12-year-old kid. Other people being tackled. So there's going to be some serious charges in the next couple of months or years from that school up there in Ogdensburg. Hi, you're in the air.
Hey, Glenn. I'm calling about the caller that called about his children.
Yes.
I disagree completely. I think he should do everything could possibly do to hold not only CPS, but the ex-wife and the probation department accountable for falling down on the job.
Well, I think that's what's happening. Yeah, and I just think that, and you have a really bad phone line. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It happens. But I just, again, any law investigator will tell you, or a lawyer or a judge will say that, yes, it's an ongoing investigation, and they should really not disclose any information that could spoil their efforts. That's all.
Yeah.
But I know you know that. But at the same time, you're probably a mother. You're a concerned person. And you want justice. I get it. But sometimes you got to wait for justice.
But to give those children back to his ex-wife,
That I don't know.
mind-boggling.
Yes.
I can't even. Well, anyways, that's all I had to say.
No, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got to do a commercial break. You're listening to the Live at 5 show, and we'll be back after this.